No, what's good, everybody? Welcome into the fastest growing show in all of the remote YouTube and stadium space. Every single Thursday, right here, we're on the Stadium Network. We're so pleased to be in partnership with them. I am the coach, and we've had a busy week. We've had a busy couple of weeks, and the WWE, they got some explaining to do. Now, we've got a lot to get to over the course of the next hour, but you guys know I don't do this show by myself, not by a long shot. Where's my partner? Where's my guy? The brains behind the fastest growing wrestling organization in the country, JCW. My man Vince, what's up, baby?
I am here. This is burning the midnight oil for me. I mean, it's 7:30. I haven't had a bath yet. I mean, I'm burning the midnight oil here, Coach. I only do this for you, my man. Just you.
Well, I appreciate it. And the people watching right now on Stadium, they have no clue what you're talking about.
Well, they'll know.
Well, they'll know. Yeah, I mean, it's 7:30 somewhere in the universe.
Yes, it is.
Somewhere
Absolutely.
in the universe.
I think China last I checked. Yeah. Yes.
By the way, later tonight, a new episode of JCW. Yes?
Yes, 7 o'clock Eastern, man. And I always say this, if you miss an episode, you're going to miss something.
And we don't want people to do that.
No, we don't.
All right, Vince, we got a lot to talk about because you and I we only have one episode this week because, as you like to say, I'm big timing you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only a little something called the PGA Tour, but whatever. But you and I have not spoken.
No.
Since the Elimination Chamber.
No.
And as I watched, and we had a live watch along, Vince, we had over 10,000 people watch our watch.
That's awesome, man. That hats off. That is awesome, Coach. Congrats.
Thank you. It was fantastic. And a lot of people in the chat right now, they were involved. And Vince, as I'm sitting there, I always think about you. And I go, what would Vince do? What would Vince be saying? And one of the big stories that came out the last couple of days is that ESPN, who we have put over like $1 million on this show, they've done everything in their power to make this partnership work. Vince, reports are they are not very happy because not only are the numbers not great, but Mark Shapiro went on a podcast or a show and he said it doesn't help them to be behind a paywall. Vince, that's why they got the money, is it not?
Who's coaching Mark Shapiro?
I don't know.
You know, Coach, we've mentioned this before. Very, very, very familiar. Sounds very familiar to the Fox story.
Yep.
Very, very familiar. But God, this Mark Shapiro, I mean, you talk about needing a PR person. I mean, the stuff that comes out of his mouth. But again, the check is cashed.
And his checks are really, really big. They're really big.
Yes, they are. Yes,
so we have a quote from him. I want to put it up right now. Producer man, if you don't mind, and I want to read this so everybody at home gets to see it because we're just reporting the news. And I'm completely on ESPN's side. I loved working there. I'm going to be on ESPN this week. But this, to me, is so out of bounds. Let's read this, Vince. He says, quote, "That is the $29.99 monthly cost without authenticating. I believe is somewhat prohibitive, especially in today's economy, and the struggles that certainly middle-income and low-income earners are having with affordability. They have to get those deals done. Until they do, that will affect our audience." Here's what makes this so bananas. He literally has the audacity to talk about thinking about middle and lower-income families, and he wants ESPN to worry about what he's saying, Vince, is like with my Cox Cable, I get it as part of the deal, and then they cut the revenue. He's saying that all these companies need to do that so they can get the ESPN app for free and those families can afford it. Vince, what about the tickets for $8,000 to the show?
Wow, Coach, this is too much because I think it's fair to assume that these conversations between ESPN and WWE were had during the deal making. They had these conversations. They knew exactly what ESPN was going to do. They knew exactly what ESPN were going to charge. And now they're going to say this on the other side of this when it's not meeting up to the numbers that they promised ESPN. Man, I got to tell you, Coach, again, I don't know anybody at ESPN, but if I am reading this, I've got a real issue with this.
I have if I'm Jimmy Pitaro and I'm ESPN and I just paid you $1.6 billion,
Yep.
because I wanted you to help launch an app. Guess what? You got to have a little bit of patience, but also it's not on us to get the lower income families, Vince, to afford it. It's on you to give me a show that people want to pay $30 for, because Vince, it wasn't that long ago that pay-per-views were $69.99 or $79.99. So this is half of that. It's the creative stinks. That's why they're not getting the buys. It has nothing to do with the $30.
Coach, I just gladly, with a smile on my face, paid MLB.TV $149.99 to get my complete year of baseball. No arguing, no haggling over prices.
Yep.
I know what I'm getting for that money. This is that simple. Hey, Mark, Mr. Shapiro, whatever you like to be called, your fans are saying it is not worth the $29.99 a month. Now, maybe that has something to do with Bruce Pritchard saying, well, we only need to put 4 matches on there. I don't know. Maybe that's got a little something to do with it. I am going to go back to Vince McMahon circa 1996. If it's good, they'll watch it. If it's good, they'll buy it.
That's exactly right. And Vince, as you're watching the Coach and Bro show, your favorite pro wrestling show, thank you to everybody. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button on your way in. Vince, I can't help but think back a couple of months ago when Stephanie McMahon on one of her 2 WWE podcasts, remember what she did?
Yep.
They had a VPN sponsor for her show. And I quote, I need to show you how easy it is to use one, specifically the one that Stephanie promoted. That has been kind of a quote from different people out there that are willing to help people learn how to do a VPN. Essentially, what that sponsor is doing is, Vince, you and I here in the United States, we could act like we're somewhere else and bypass the ESPN app. That's bad business. It's not being in the sandbox together. And did I not say when this deal started that it would not live up to par because of this exact situation?
Coach, it's 1,000%, because when you're talking about the consumer, and again, I just talked about my $149.99 to MLB TV. When you talk about the consumer, here's what the consumer wants, Coach. They want their money's worth.
That's it.
I know for $1.50, I'm getting my money's worth. For $29.99 a month, people do not feel like they're getting their money's worth. And again, let go back to the 4-show formula. I'm paying $30 to watch the 4 match. To watch 4 matches? Is it really worth it when they're going to put all the highlights on YouTube 5 minutes after it's over? Am I really going to shell out $30 a month for 4 matches?
It's so bad. It's so bad. And it's starting to feel, though, now, whether it's our audience or the social media audience that responds to us. Remember, we used to get a lot of hate because they're like, guys, you're hate. And now we're pointing this out. Now they're starting to understand. We're educating the audience on what's really going on. When they don't want to admit something, here's what it boils down to, guys. What Mark Shapiro basically said is, it's not us, it's them. It's not us, it's them. Right after you have a PLE where you have a women's match that was okay, you had an AJ Lee match followed up by a promo, Vince, that shows how long she's been out of the business. My God. Then you got CM Punk. We're going to get into all the social media stuff. He was gassed after 6 minutes. And then you had the men's match where you had to have Jey Uso beat up before the match even started the day before. What does that say about who a year ago was your biggest star?
Coach, so when Shapiro is saying it's not us, it's them, it's never them. It's never the WWE. No. It's ESPN. So is he talking about specifically the price? That they're charging too much?
Correct. Well, here's what he's saying. So when they came out, Vince, there was some and there's like a small class action lawsuit going on right now. Basically, there was a lot of confusion that if you have DirecTV or Cox Cable or any of them, YouTube TV, that if you pay your $150 a month, that the app comes with it, right? And what did I say right here on the show? not possible.
Yep.
They're never going to make their money back unless they divide it up with the companies. So a lot of those companies did not offer it for free. So it depends on what you have. I have Cox, I get it for free. Somebody else right next door may not get it for free. So what Mark Shapiro is saying, well, these people that get ESPN, they're not willing to pay the $30 because they don't have the money, which is so rich to me. When you're trying to ask them, when you're not even selling out WrestleMania and you refuse to admit that your ticket prices are off and you're blaming Vince McMahon. Remember he did that 2 months ago?
Yes. Yeah.
He's talking out of both sides of his mouth. I cannot believe that came out of his mouth. I can't believe it.
Well,
I
let me
can't
ask
believe
you
it.
this, Coach. You know that company better than anybody. How do you think they're going to react to this?
I think that you're going to see some. So they're already reacting, Vince. So they just announced last week that the first 2 hours, hour one, night one, hour two, are out. The first hour of both nights will stream on ESPN for free. Then you got to switch over to the ESPN app. It's something that a lot of places do. They give you like that free hour, but it's normally not the first hour of the actual show. It's usually like a pre-show.
Yeah, like a Sunday Night Heat.
Like a Sunday Night Heat. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So I think that ESPN, because by the way, Vince, that $149 that you paid for MLB.TV, that money goes to ESPN. They're running it now.
I know they're
running it now.
I know they are. Yep.
And so you got a bunch of happy baseball people because now everybody's getting the games because it was up in the air. And I think that ESPN, if I know them like I think I know them, that last week, how many superstars did they put on all their shows? It seemed like everybody. And it doesn't. I read an article today that said the DNA is a mismatch, meaning, and I talked to some of my friends who still work there, if I'm being candid. And when you have the 6 o'clock Sports Center events and you're putting Becky Lynch on it, that's a news program. It doesn't make sense. It makes sense in the morning on a morning show where it's laid back and you're talking, it's first take, and that makes sense. Not at nighttime. So they're throwing all of these talent there because they want to do their part. So I think if this continues to be said out of Mark Shapiro's mouth, Vince, they could dial it back and say, there's got to be a loophole and out something.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. And again, man, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but just going back to the Fox deal. Remember when they would have the pre-show on football, NFL, and they would have to talk about wrestling, and they looked uncomfortable. It felt like a mismatch. Again, Coach, at the end of the day, we're talking about real sports and make-believe sports. That's what we're talking about at the end of the day. It's very much when I talk about the press conferences, the post press conferences, half of it they're in character, the next half it's real life. It's like you've got to choose one or the other, Coach. So when you're mixing fiction with fantasy, something's just off there.
It really is. And this started, 11 years ago when my group did it. I started this whole thing. You've got to do it the right way. But again, if I'm ESPN, I don't want to say, Vince, they didn't know what they were getting. I think Nick Khan and Mark Shapiro are very good at selling their product and saying, hey, we're the cash cows. The problem is when you don't know exactly what you're getting, all you're looking at is, oh my God, they're making all this money. We want to be a part of that. Instead of thinking, is our audience really going to come here to get it? Are the casuals that watch college basketball, college football, are they going to see wrestling on the same app and go, yep, let me pay for that? And I think that's where there might have been a miscalculation, but I don't blame ESPN. Vince, that's the new normal, and they need to have as many different kinds of content as possible, including wrestling. But I don't think they've attacked it the right way because WWE has dropped the ball, not ESPN.
Man, there have been so many examples this week, one right after the other.
All right, hold that thought. Hold that thought. I want you to continue it on the other side. We're just getting started here. We still have a lot more to get into. Vince's ideas. What does he have? Also, social media. It's a shit show right now backstage at the WWE. We'll talk all about it. This is the Coach and Bro Show. We love it right here on Stadium. All right, here we go. Segment number 2 in 3, 2. Welcome back, everybody, to the Coach and Bro Show here on Stadium, YouTube, and social media. I am the coach alongside my partner, my good friend, Vince Russo. All right, Vince, right before the end of our first segment, you were getting into something. What were you saying?
I was saying, man, there have been so many examples this week. The casuals are not even on their radar anymore. You just made a comment about ESPN and the casuals. ESPN are playing to a casual audience. The casual audience are sports fans. WWE has made it so clear so many times this week. Forget about the casuals. We're concentrating on this niche market and the people that we have. That is a huge disconnect because I promise you, Coach, their niche market are not watching ESPN religiously. It's not the same audience, Coach.
I am so glad you said that, which is why the storylines and the creative have got to be better. And also, if you're going to get those casuals, you got to bring in somebody or something that's going to make them click. It's going to make them turn their head and go, oh, now as a casual, I get it. And what did they do on Saturday night, Vince? After 2 weeks of saying what's in the crate, 2 weeks of what's in the box, and everybody said it was Danhausen, who, by the way, Vince, you're talking to all these wrestling fans are like, oh, he's entertaining, he's this, he's that. Vince, he had not been on AEW since February of 2024. 2 years, and he comes out with dancers. The dancers were bigger than he was. What did you make of the fact that he was the betting favorite? If you bet on who was in the crate, he was the betting favorite. They didn't change the narrative. It could have been Seth. It could have been a clue. Could have been something. Vince, he got booed out of the building on Saturday night. How come they didn't change the creative?
Yeah, I remember the last show we did, he was number one at minus 200, and
Yes.
I didn't believe that. I'm like, this has to be a rib. Like, this can't be true. I want to make one thing perfectly clear. This is a very, very, very talented guy. There's no question about that. You guys know I love characters. He's got this character down to a T. But again, Coach, this is clearly, we don't care about the casual fans. We know that the casual fans don't know who this guy is. There's going to be no backstory. There's going to be no vignettes because the people that watch our show know Danhausen. You and I have been talking about this for years. So here's the bottom line. The only way you're going to get growth is to the casuals. When now the casuals aren't even part of the conversation, there's only one way to go, and that's down, because you're not going to gain new people, but you are going to lose fans along the way. Between Danhausen, between the comments Michael Hayes made with Taker, they are telling you, we're ignoring the casual fans. We don't care about them anymore. That's the statement, Coach.
Two things happened that really resonates about what you're saying. They don't even want to face the fans. Vince, they canceled the post-event press conferences starting, 3 or 4 months ago. Now they do the live post-show out amongst the fans, do they not? Right?
Yep.
And normally Triple H will go out and sit there. Where did he do his post-event press conference interview from Saturday night? Gorilla position. And he was asked about Danhausen. He's like, hey, Dan, I think you're going to enjoy the ride. Here's the problem. The other thing that happened, Vince, is I saw somebody on social media put together a hilarious compilation of Triple H saying, it's what we do. It's what we do. It's what we do. Surprise, surprise. Brand new era, brand new era. It was hilarious. Vince, he's now become the boy that cries wolf. And so now when you have something that they decide to do in 3 months, and we're like, you got 2 weeks, how many people are going to say, no, thanks? I saw what you did the last time.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter. It didn't resonate with me because I didn't know who the hell it was.
Coach, I have to tell you, again, I just have to use JCW as an example so you understand the casual fan. when I started writing for JCW, I adopted two teams. One team was zombies and the other team were clowns. Now, I knew I had to explain to the casual fans, how are these zombies wrestling? So I explained they're living the zombie lifestyle. With the clowns, it came out. These are two gangsters in witness protection. But that's why I did it, Coach.
Yeah.
Because the casuals are going to say, Vince, what is it? Zombies are wrestling and clowns are wrestling? That's the Danhausen thing here. You've got to give me a backstory. Why is this guy this way? What is the curse gimmick? You've got to give me that. Otherwise, if you're a casual fan, this is the stupidest thing I ever saw. But they don't care about that fan anymore, Coach.
They don't. And to your point, he comes out, he gets booed. All Michael Cole did was he had like I don't know, some teeth in a glass. And then Monday they didn't explain anything. Yeah. They did a pre-tape with Adam Pearce, and I believe he has producer man, throw up the cursed graphic first. His there you go. So this is what he has. And I actually, if I'm being honest, I found this to be somewhat entertaining. It was like on a wet piece of paper.
I saw this. Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't. No.
And then they carried it into with the Judgment Day, and then you're cursed. And then, but to your point, Vince, if a fan is watching on Netflix and they have no clue what his character is, right, why would they know when he yells, I'm cursed, and then the camera whips and goes back, what that means and why he does it?
They're assuming the person who watches their show knows that.
Correct.
That's the assumption.
Correct. And I had no idea that his career was going to end, Vince, before it even got started. What am I talking about? Producer man, if you don't mind, another picture that made its way to social media. Oh.
Coach.
Oh no.
Coach, can I throw something out there?
Of course.
What was the last character that appeared on Raw that was very, very similar to this? What was the last character? Do you remember?
Are we talking the Wyatt Six? Are we talking
the Iguana Man?
Oh, Mr. Iguana.
Whoa, okay. What happened to Mr. Iguana? This is the same thing. This is the same exact thing. Where is that guy? Guys, I'm going to say this a million times. Danhausen is talented. I'm taking nothing away from this guy, but this is a company that couldn't get Bray Wyatt over. And you're gonna get this guy over. Good luck pointing at him, Triple H. Good luck with that.
They won't pay Karrion Kross to stay. But reports are they gave Danhausen a multi-year, very lucrative deal. And if I'm looking at these two, and I don't know Danhausen from anybody, you do, I'm going to trust your opinion. But Vince, how do you have Karrion Kross, who also has just an incredible wife that's a great, and then you don't keep him 6 months ago, and you decide this, a guy who hasn't been on TV in 2 years, is what you need with no storyline. This is where all of these, and I hate to give dirt sheets credit, but a lot of the dirt sheets are saying that the creative room is an absolute disaster. Can you imagine right now? I believe those reports. Because imagine sitting in there and they're going, no, we're going to do this. We're not going to do that. No, we're going to put Randy Orton over. Now we're going to have Jay, and getting nowhere. I believe the reports. I really do.
And again, I just what rings through my mind when I see this is, Stephanie, we write this a year in advance. Paul Heyman, when we're writing this year's WrestleMania, we're thinking of, come on, guys, seriously, you're doing all of this by the seat of your pants. And what does it go back to? What Coach and I said 2 years ago, the more masters you serve, and now you're writing against the clock. So who can we pull up from NXT? Who can we sign from AEW? What can we do? Everything's a quick fix. Nothing is played out. Nothing is a story. Nothing has longevity.
Which is why now you're starting to see exactly what we've talked about, and now the fan base, that let's say I have 100%, 50 were still backing them and they were still criticizing us. Well, now it's more like 80-20 because they're starting to see what we've been talking about right before their very eyes. We had someone in the chat. Imagine them talking about housing on Sports Center. Think about that for a second.
That's a great
Think about
point.
that for a second.
What a great point.
Now, Vince, before we have to break, I do have to roll one more video. It may upset you a little bit, but I feel like I need to do it. Producer man, if you don't mind, we've got to go back just a little bit, please. All right, great update there, Double D. Appreciate that. Right.
I have a guess of a crazy of who might actually be in the box. It'd be very stupid. It would be very stupid.
Who would that be, Double D?
Danhausen.
Danhausen.
Good night, everybody.
Well, how do you do it, D? You come on for 1 minute and you get Vince to walk away. You come on for 1 minute and you get Vince to walk away. How do you? Who is Danhausen, by the way? Who is that? Who is Danhausen?
Coach, you cannot put this guy on the. I guess I owe him an apology.
You do. He was spot on.
He was spot on, and I apologize. That's how ridiculous I thought it was.
That was so funny when you got up and walked away, and you're just like, and I'm, it's not like we're breaking news all the time. So a lot of other shows are talking about this. Vince, I keep saying I don't think these guys are stupid. They're not stupid. They have had careers for a long time. But Vince, this is just one after another after another. And if you're Danhausen,
we have to stop. We have to change the narrative that they're not stupid. They are stupid, Coach. They've had They've had careers for a long time because they're politicians.
I know.
They've stabbed people in the back. They've buried people. They've walked all over people. These are not talented people. When you sit down and you watch Michael Hayes and Taker, I got to stop right there.
You got to stop right there.
Remind me when we come back.
1,000%. Also, I want Vince's take on a social media beef that apparently is a shoot. We're only halfway home. This is the Coach and Bro Show right here on the Stadium Network. All right, awesome, guys. By the way, I see all those super stickers coming through. Keep them coming. We'll get to all of them at the end of the show. Also, we're going to have the Coach and Brolette wheel twice tonight because of your patience. All right, segment number 3. Here we go in 3, 2. Welcome back, everybody, to the Coach and Bro Show. We're about halfway home, about 32 minutes after the hour. I am the coach. He is Vince Russo. All right, Vince, right before the break, you were getting fired up about Michael Hayes and how we need to stop the narrative of what they truly are. Talk to me.
Yes. When Michael Hayes is sitting there with Taker, guys, go back and watch the interview. Taker is basically saying to Michael Hayes, if you guys don't know what to do with Chelsea Green, I will gladly take her at AAA because I know what to do with her. That is what he said. Word for word, that's what he said. So let's stop the narrative. These are not smart people, Coach. They're not smart people. For Bruce Pritchard to think, I'm going to give the fans 4 matches and they're going to think they got their money's worth. You know what it is, Coach? It's this simple. When you go to a restaurant and you either get a full plate of food or they kind of skimp on the food and you're still hungry after you eat it, are you going back to that restaurant? No, but I'm going to go to the restaurant where I know my omelet is going to be the size of the plate. These are stupid people. Let's just call it what it is, Coach.
I can't disagree with you. I've been trying. Like, we keep trying and trying and trying. And for once, we're not talking about Gunther. Like, they're doing nothing with Gunther now. We don't even have that to complain about. But you mentioned a name that does lead me to my next topic, Chelsea Green. Because, Vince, they decided to have Rhea Ripley win the Elimination Chamber. And on the watch-along and then on social media, I said, because I was doing, like, the live tweeting, and I said, I don't like the choice. And they thought I didn't like it because Rhea won. What I didn't like, Vince, was Michael Cole said right after she won. So for the 5th straight year, Rhea Ripley will be facing, and then she looks up at Jade Cargill, and I said, are we supposed to believe that Rhea and Jade Cargill is going to be the banger that they believe it to be. And Vince, right after that, Jade Cargill goes after Rhea on social media. Rhea goes after Jade on social media. Then you had other members of the locker room, including Chelsea, go after Jade. And I've been getting a lot of reports, and I got a call today that that's not a work, which sometimes they do. It's an absolute shoot that Jade Cargill, what I've been saying for a long time, not well liked. She's a bully. And Vince, when you do that, your in-ring work better be impeccable. And it's not. And I said on Off the Ropes on Monday, she's green as grass. So Vince, if you're meeting with creative for hours instead of working in the ring and your biggest star has an issue with you, where do they go?
Yeah, and again, this sounds very... Guys, you have to understand something about wrestlers. If you're not a lifer, they're going to have a problem with you. You know, we're talking about Chelsea, Rhea Ripley. These are lifers. This is, I dreamt about being a wrestler when I was 6 years old. They're lifers. When somebody comes along that's not a lifer, me, for instance, I was not a lifer, there's going to be issues. This is very similar to the Ronda Rousey story.
Yes.
Very similar. And that's the mold that Jade Cargill is cut out of. And usually when you look like her, and it wasn't her hope and her dream to be a wrestler when she was 6 years old, and she looks the way she does, and there's a little jealousy and there's a little envy, man, they're going to come after you, and you're never going to see it coming.
Correct.
This sounds very similar to the Ronda Rousey story.
Ronda Rousey came in and nobody liked her, but she came in with credentials.
Right.
So at least she was a star somewhere else. I had people tell me on Twitter, like, Coach, she was a star and a champion in AEW. Do you know what my response to that is always, Vince? You were a world champion and I was a tag team champion. It doesn't matter if she was a champion in AEW.
Right.
The fact that she's had one title defense on TV 2 weeks ago against Jordynne Grace, what would possess her other than what normally wrestlers that think they're better than they are do to go after all of these women? Because she went after all of them individually. Yeah. But then also, every time you have a match, you have to wonder if she's going to mess up, if it's going to be clunky. And then if that's the case, Vince, how many women in the locker room are going to want to work with her in the ring?
I'm going to tell you why. And all of this makes perfect sense. Because she's not a lifer, because she didn't want to be a wrestler at 6, because she didn't sleep in a car and do all this crap, she doesn't know how to play the game.
You're right.
You're right. Know how to play the game. So she's hearing all this. She's getting all this. She's reading all this. She doesn't know. Ronda Rousey did not know how to play the wrestling game. And if you don't know how to play the game, Coach, you're dead. You're dead in the water.
And right now, from all the reports, again, I don't read dirt sheets, but I see, you know, when stuff comes across my feed, you read a little bit of stuff. And Vince, I go by my experience there and your experience there. And if we would have had a talent doing that work or shoot, it's a bad look. But Vince, they weren't the only ones that were doing it. We had on the men's side, you have CM Punk and Roman Reigns. And I felt like for 2 weeks, it was going to be 15 to 20 minutes of a waste of our time. We knew that they were never going to change the main event at WrestleMania from CM Punk to Roman Reigns. So what happened? They went out there, and the entrance was a banger. You had the Michael Jordan entrance in Chicago. Then you morphed into his music. Vince, that was the best part of the match. And then poor Finn Balor, 15 or 20 minutes, and it was just a very easy 1, 2, 3. So then what happened on Monday night? Well, they responded to tweets that happened on Saturday. Roman Reigns, Vince, right after, said, man, something to the effect, because I can't remember off the top of my head, but basically called him out of shape. Said that he got tired. He got gassed. Everything that I say on this show. And so what did CM Punk do? He went back at him and said, I'm going to bury you next to your father. Now, I'm all for doing really edgy things. But I felt like all of that went over the line because CM Punk did a lot of it live on the post show. And on the post show, he goes, Roman's not too busy to tweet, but too busy to come to the town of Chicago. And he goes, 19,000. I sold this place out. I did it, and you're sitting your ass at home. And then he started quoting houses and who had the top and the number 2 and all of that. It felt very personal.
Coach, you know what all this sounds like? I can't help it. I can't help it. And we say it all the time. None of that is happening with Vince McMahon in charge.
Zero.
And it's like, here's what Roman Reigns and CM Punk are doing, and here's what they're saying. Triple H, what are you going to do? We're going to go out there and say whatever we want to say, no matter how real it gets, no matter how ugly it gets. What are you going to do, Triple H? You're going to reprimand Roman Reigns? Is that what you're going to do? None of this happened. Bro, if a wrestler went out there and took credit for the houses,
yep,
Vince would have took him off of the houses. That's what Vince would have done. None of this would be happening on Vince McMahon's dime. None of it.
What do you make of Roman continuing the narrative that CM Punk is, and he's not fat. That's not what we're saying. You can be out of shape and still have a decent body. But Vince, I've been saying it, have I not, for months, that he gets out there and 5 or 6 minutes in, you're in the main event. You're a world heavyweight champion. So you've got to be able to have a 30 to 40-minute banger without getting tired. Am I right? It's got to be. Main event's got to be 30 or 40 minutes. And right now, Vince, he is gassed after 6 to 10. So why would Roman Reigns go after that instead of a more creative insult, like I'm coming to get you, whatever it is? To me, him doing that is him saying, I just don't give a damn about CM Punk. I don't like him, because I don't think it's a very creative way to go after him.
Well, but keep in mind now, Coach, you got to connect some dots here. This is the same Roman Reigns that said, in my absence, you didn't get any other younger talent over.
He did.
So now he's calling out. And listen, man, we've said this about CM Punk. Yes, he's gassed because Father Time catches up with all of us. I'm sure he spends hours and hours and hours in the gym. His age keeps increasing, not decreasing. So he's gonna be winded. But this is Roman Reigns saying, this is the guy you got as your champion, and this is what you're getting.
No doubt. 46 years old. And we say it all the time. If he had house shows, it would help. If he was wrestling Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it would absolutely help. They're not doing that. You don't hear of, man, CM Punk's been down at the training center getting ready for WrestleMania for 2 months. That's what Rock would have done. That's what Austin would have done. That's what Taker would have done. And now we're going after each other. And what did you make of the last line on Monday Night Raw? Because normally when you shoot from the hip and you go low, both guys are in on it. But to say, I'm going to bury you next to your father, what did you make of that?
That was a thing, man. Back in the day, Coach. You know this. You never said you were going to kill somebody because nobody was ever getting killed. So you never said that, bro. These were discussions that were had. You never said Roman Reigns. So it was Punk who said that. Yeah, Punk ain't killing and burying anybody. So now that is Punk, a babyface, telling. I don't even know, is Reigns a heel? It doesn't even matter. But now the babyface is saying, I'm going to kill you and then I'm going to bury you. Well, brother, guess what? You're not doing neither. So now you got a babyface that's a liar. These are things, Coach, that they don't even think about or consider anymore. And again, this is why your entire casual base has said bye-bye, because if a casual fan happens to be watching the show, the casual fan is saying, oh, you're gonna kill him and bury him? Really?
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Exactly, man. That's the response.
And you're starting to see there were other members of the bloodline who were visibly pissed. They were visibly pissed. And I can only imagine, I mean, how many bloodline members are there. When he said that, you got to believe some didn't like it. And I don't know. More on that coming up in the next few weeks, but I think there's something more there as well. All right, still to come as we take this bad boy home. I did something this past Tuesday that was one of the greatest things I've ever done. We're going to talk about it next. It's Coach and Bro right here on Stadia. All right, you crazy kids. One more segment, then we'll get to all of the super stickers, all of your questions. Don't even worry about it. Again, thank you guys for joining us live tonight, late night on a Tuesday. All right, 10 minutes, Vince, in 3, 2. Welcome back, everybody, to the Coach and Bro Show. I am the coach alongside my man, Vinny Ruru from JCW. Now, Vince, we normally talk a lot of wrestling, but every now and then, I'm reminded we have really cool lives. And whether it's doing this show that I love with you, one of the things in the WWE that's always been a thing is celebrities. But there's good celebrities that are, they buy in. Then there's those that are just there to be seen on TV. We all know those, right? Well, Gabriel Iglesias, the great comedian, who in 2025, he was the 4th highest grossing comedian in the world. Made over $58 or $59 million. We've become friends the last couple of years. He was at the Netflix premiere because he's had 2 specials on Netflix. Vince, you're very close with your father. I'm very close with my father, who's here right now. He loves Gabriel Iglesias. He flew out because on Tuesday, he got his star on the Walk of Fame. More importantly than that, he gets 4 people to speak on his behalf. I was the 4th one. And Vince, when I say that I killed it, I absolutely killed it. And there was probably 1,000 people there. There was some super famous comedians. There was one of the Backstreet Boys. And Producer Man put together just a little thing that I want to show the people at home of what my Tuesday was like in Hollywood. Gabe called me about 4 months ago, and I looked down at the phone, and I said, man, Fluffy's calling me. And he said, Coach, I have a big favor to ask. He said, I want WWE represented when I get my star on the Walk of Fame. I sat there for a moment, and I got a little emotional. Maybe even a tear came down my face. I said, Fluffy, I am honored that you would ask me to be a part of it. He then paused and said, this is a little awkward, Coach. I was hoping you'd call The Rock for me to show up today. He's always been one of the hardest workers in the room. 2025, over 100 shows. He's even going to the Middle East, proving that everybody's got a price. And that is the bottom line. And I'm not the only one who says it. Sports Illustrated even says it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor in front of the millions and millions of Fluffy's fans in attendance and those watching around the world. There is only one, and today we call him the Great One. So get on your feet for the man, the myth, the legend, and taking his rightful place as one of the greatest entertainers of all time. If you smell what Fluffy is cooking. Oh, and there it is, Vince. You see, I got to be in the picture. How cool is that? We got Vince's microphone.
Yeah, no, I'm watching. I'm engaged.
Sorry.
I'm engaged, bro. I'm engaged.
Is this amazing or what? I mean,
that's big time, bro. You're big time. There's no doubt in that, man. Look at you. Look at you.
I know. It was amazing. It was literally one of the best days I've ever had. My dad had the greatest time ever.
Here's the question.
Yes.
When the great Jonathan Coachman is getting his star, am I one of the 4? That's the question.
There is no doubt.
Okay.
All right. Now, whether or not I let you open the comments or close the comments,
okay.
But there's no question that you're one of my 4 closest.
I just want to be one of the 4. I don't care what. But that's awesome, Coach. Good for you. Good for Fluffy. Good for you, Dad. That is. I love stories like that, man.
Thank you.
Yep.
Now, we have one more piece of sound that I know you want to hit on before we get out of here this week. And I believe it's Paul Heyman. Yes? Okay. Here we go. Roll it, and then Vince will have the floor. Producer man.
That we liked in France was ECW.
Oh, of course.
I grew up watching ECW, and we didn't have on TV, so it was tape trading at the time. Could you tell us how ECW inspired the Attitude Era?
ECW was the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era was based on ECW. The Attitude Era was a carbon copy of ECW. The Attitude Era was stolen from ECW. This entire multi-billion-dollar conglomerate was built on the concepts that came out of the bingo hall in Philadelphia, which were all done by me and the people in ECW. So, I mean, let's be honest as to how this all happened, because that's how it happened.
That's the truth.
And I don't blame the billionaires for stealing the concept. If you're going to steal, you steal from the best. And ECW was the best. That's why, by the way, I am the last manager from the 1980s still standing, and I'm the last promoter from the 1990s still.
All right, Vince. We both were there for the Attitude Era. What do you make of that?
Here's my first question. If Paul Heyman, who was the boss, I don't want to say owner because he didn't pay anybody. If you're an owner, you got to pay people, and he didn't pay anybody. If he was the boss at ECW, Paul, where's your attitude been the last 20 years? You're talking about attitude? Where has your attitude been since you've been employed by the WWE? That's a joke, bro. There has been no attitude in the WWE programming for 20 years. That's number one. Number two, Coach, I have said for the last 30 years, Coach, on my children, I probably saw parts of 3 ECW shows. I probably saw an hour's worth of ECW programming when I was working for the WWE. I have clearly said 1,000% my writing and the Attitude Era was inspired by the NWO and what Eric was doing at WCW at the time. As a matter of fact, I was trying to get a job with them. That's how much I was inspired with what they were doing. If I was inspired by ECW in any way, shape, or form, why wouldn't I say it? I have no... Listen, people know that Eric Bischoff and I are not the best friends in the world, and I am telling you, I was inspired by what he was doing at WCW. But again, what makes me laugh is this guy is going to talk about attitude where he's had the difference. He's had the opportunity to make a difference in the WWE for the last 20 years. Where's the attitude, Paul? And here's the funny part, Coach. After he comes out with the statement, and I made that comment online, you're going to talk about attitude? Where's your attitude been the last 20 years? What does he do? He gets a little bloody nose on Raw. There's everybody. There's my attitude. There's my attitude. My nose is bleeding. There's my attitude. Give me a break, man. Please get over yourself, Paul. Really.
It does seem like, because I think it was on last Thursday's episode, whenever it was. We got 2 minutes left, and he did the same shtick with Bully Ray from Busted Open, where he's like, you book out 3 years in this. I feel like now, and I've always gotten along with him. We're not close friends, but I feel like now he's saying the same thing over and over and over, almost as a shtick, rather than what's happening, because everything that he's talking about is not happening. And I was there for ECW One Night Stand. I was there for the entire Attitude Era. That was my entire 10 years. And I don't ever remember us saying, well, we got this from them. And we had some of their guys and we had some hardcore matches. But that's what I think ECW was about, was hardcore stuff. Yeah. And that's what the Dudley Boys and Tommy Dreamer and those guys. I don't think about the Attitude Era being that.
My takeaway from ECW at the time when I saw, like I said, maybe an hour's worth of programming, my takeaway was this, I swear. How is he getting these guys to do this? because the stuff they were putting their bodies through, ECW was violent. It was violent. The Attitude Era was not based on violence. If anything, the Attitude Era was based on McMahon and Austin. Let's be honest. That's what it was based on. That was not violence.
Okay, well, we got to wrap it up. For those of you tonight at 7 o'clock, check out Vince. He'll be live, tweeting, YouTube, all that good stuff. The next episode of JCW will be back on Monday. We've got a busy couple of weeks. Thanks for hanging out with us. Turn on your notifications. We love doing this for you. For Vince, producer man, Mikey P, I am the coach. This has been the Coach and Bro Show right here on the Stadium Network. Have a great day. All right, you crazy kids, all you super stickers. Vince, we got a ton to get to. We have a ton to get to. Here we go. All right, smartest Mark alive. Hell, he may have a bigger show than we do now. This guy is killing it down under. He said WWE manufactured the Twitter beef with Jade and Rhea because the match has no heat, no story, no background, and no build. What do you think of WWE letting the IWC fuel their creative? I love smartest Mark alive. I don't think this is a work, Vince. I really, really don't. I think it's a shoot. Also, I got a call today. And when this person calls me, he has been right about everything the last 18 months except one thing. And the one thing he wasn't even wrong about. So, Vince, I think it was an absolute shoot. I also think that they should take the championship off of Jade. And I wanted to see Rhea and Raquel. You know what people said on my feed? Coach, we've already seen that match before. Not this version of Raquel, we have not. She's grown up. She's grown up. It's the first big girl they've had that they can lean into. Kevin Nash has been helping. So I think Jade was a giant mistake financially. And Vince, at some point, they got to get off the ride because they're not using her anyway. Why do you not use her, Vince, and then give her basically a main event match at WrestleMania?
Yeah, and again, Coach, you know, they know she's not ready for that spot, then why put her in the spot?
Yes.
Jade Cargill could have been an attraction. They chose to put her in the spot. Now, Coach, maybe they chose to put her in the spot to bury herself.
But Vince, they're paying her 7 figures.
You know how this business works.
Yeah. Man, I watched that Elimination Chamber. I thought the women were better than the men, to be honest. And Tiffy Time, Kiana James, Sol Ruka. To me, there's so many more options better than Jade Cargill. I don't see it. And I don't understand why they won't take that off of her and just say, hey, listen, we'll pay you out and you're good to go. Because I think it's going to be a bad match. It's going to be a bad match.
Who was that person you said was in them? Al Roker? Al Roker, the weatherman? Al Roker was in the
Sol Ruka, not Al Roker.
Okay,
although Al Roker, he might be better than some of the things going on right now. All right, ECAST829. And remember, anything $10 or over, you will get a spot on the Coach and Bro Let Wheel we will do at the end of the show. 2 different merch items. We have a brand new store, so a ton of options to choose from. All right, wrestling fans are the stupidest fans in the world. AJ Lee gets a "You deserve it" chant. I'm convinced Triple H can go out to the middle of the ring, drop his boxers, and take a dump, and the fans will cheer for him.
You know, Coach, it's funny because I'm starting to hear more of their niche audience, more of the wrestling media. I'm starting to hear them talk more along the lines of what we say. I can't tell you how many times, just the last, since Elimination Chamber, how many their own fan base saying and the dirt sheet saying, who would believe that AJ Lee would be a champion?
100%.
They're saying the same things about now Alexa Bliss. I'm starting to hear the things that we've been saying for years.
There were a lot of people that thought that Alexa Bliss was going to win the Elimination Chamber. I said, no chance. I said she is an add-on at best at this time of her career. Vince, she was the first one eliminated.
Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah.
First one. It's time to move on from a lot of this, and I think rip up everything you've got. But I think, Vince, the problem is we're now 6 weeks away from WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And they really, to me, even the matches that we have, there's no build outside of CM Punk and Roman Reigns. There's no build. And what did they do? I wanted to get your take on this. I felt like we could have gone 2 hours tonight. When you have Drew get involved, Seth Rollins comes back, and now you have Randy and Drew, but what do? Right after the Chamber, they make Cody and Drew for SmackDown in Portland. Vince, do you know that SmackDown is only about half sold this Friday?
Yeah.
They made a match for ticket sales. And if Cody wins, it's a rope-a-dope way to get the pop for Randy. We didn't want Cody getting booed, and now it's going to be Cody and Randy. So Cody will have 4 straight main events at WrestleMania, which is something the fan base has screamed they don't want, at least this version of Cody.
That's exactly how I felt, when I saw the highlights and everything from the Elimination Chamber. Randy Orton's a pro, guys. Randy Orton belongs, but
yes, he does.
Again, my takeaway is, bro, how many times are we going to keep going back to the same well? Like we just keep going back to the same.
Me and you were the only ones saying it, Vince. And I said on Twitter, I said, what would it hurt? What would it hurt to have either Trick, Javon, Oba do something to shock us? When was the last time we laughed? When was the last time we were shocked? And then it's on creative, Vince. I think you would actually enjoy if you were ahead of creative right now and you had those 6 guys.
Oh, yeah.
And you said, let Trick win, and then I'll make it believable. You take that as a challenge.
Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. One thing I never did, or I tried not to do, was you can't keep repeating what they've seen a million times.
100%.
I'd rather something fail, Coach. I'd rather it fail than to repeat it just to be safe.
And that's the thing. And most of the reaction I got was when they said, Coach, Raquel's not a star. You put your stars in the matches. I said, guys, it used to be that way. But now, if you're only selling 50% of the tickets, they're now doing the safe route because they think that star power is going to be enough. Vince, they need storylines now. Because when you have 2 nights and you're selling 130,000 tickets, it's not good enough. Back in the day, when you had one night, people just bought those tickets because WrestleMania was a cool thing to do.
Right.
And then you made the matches and created. That doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And the fans are speaking up. We're still in the 30,000s of WrestleMania tickets. They've done all of these things. They're doing a NASCAR WrestleMania ticket package. They already did a 25% off ticket package. Vince, they sold nothing. 25% off, nothing.
Because you know why, Coach? There's nothing to see here. Bro, I can remember me and my car full of buddies, WrestleMania 4, WrestleMania 5, driving from Long Island to Atlantic City. There was something to see. There was something to see. Today, what am I going to see?
I thought that the other night. I got done with the watch along, and I thought to myself, because I like to play these out in my mind. And I said, if I was wanting to go to Vegas, because I'm a 4-hour drive, and I just wanted to go, what would make me go, you know what? I'm going to go rent a car. I'm going to go buy a ticket, and I'm going to go. Is there anything on there right now that would make me want to do that? And Vince, I couldn't come up with anything yet.
Yeah,
there's not enough. And I like a lot of the talent individually, but to me, this is on creative, 100%. Smartest Mark Alive says, recap of AEW signings. Alistair, ripoff of Cross, Rusev, just a jobber. Phoenix, even worse, a pre-show jobber. Hobbs, no creative except Steph's fake WWE show podcast. All 4 guys could be money. Vince, that was the other thing I had to ask you. Can you believe they rolled Royce Hobbs out at the Royal Rumble? And then he does her podcast, and he's got a pretty cool story. And it felt like they were going to use the podcast to tell his story, to introduce him. Vince, we have not seen him since January 31st. So what are we doing? We're using but we haven't even seen those. And Vince, her podcast has less than 5% of the audience that Monday Night Raw does. So even if they do that, 95% of the audience doesn't see it.
Yeah. It's, again, man, I've been saying this for decades. When is somebody going to be held accountable? Who's accountable for all these misses? Coach, you and I know, man, when you're a scout, in baseball, football, you name it, and you have a couple of misses, you are gone. This is miss after miss after miss after miss.
That's such a great point, Vince, because when you think about it, they've gotten rid of a lot of talent. They got rid of R-Truth, brought him back. They got rid of Karrion Kross, okay? But who on the creative side that's not a talent have they fired in the last 2 years? That would be my question.
10 years. What 2 years? 10 years.
Okay, 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years. A couple of writers, Freddie Prinze was there and gone. But when you're talking about the mainstays that were there since we were there, Michael, Bruce, Ed, they're all still there.
And Coach, if anybody can tell you about writer burnout, don't you think I could? Why do you think guys TV shows have seasons? They have seasons. So the writers write their 16 episodes, then they're off. They recharge the batteries. They start thinking. You've got guys that have been burned out for years. 4 years. And that's not even taken into consideration, Coach.
Michael Cole has missed less than 5 shows in 28 years. Less than 5.
Yep.
Now, he did, but that just gives you an idea of the schedule that they keep. But they love the narrative that we're way more fan-friendly, family-friendly because we don't do the house shows anymore. But the creative team, their schedule hasn't changed.
Yep.
Their schedule hasn't changed. They're still working in the office Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or so we think. Or so we think.
I mean, Coach, I had 5 years with Vince. 5 years. After that 5 years, I was burnt to the core. I was done, and I knew it. Okay, you got 5 years. You got everything out of me. Brother, I'm done. These guys have been there 20, 30 years, Coach.
I can't even imagine that. I had the exact same timeline. My first 5 years, I partied my ass off everywhere around there. I had a blast. My last 5, I was doing everything in my power to get out and go do sports.
Yeah.
So I worked like at MSG Network. I did basketball. I did football, like on the weekends. I couldn't wait to get out because I was burned out.
Yep.
I was burned out.
Yep.
1,000%. Smartest Mark, you're going to be our MVP tonight, pal. Another one from you. Thank you for the support. WWE realizes their women's division has no interest. Instead of pushing women, we want like Raquel, Chelsea. They will go back to the safe bet, Rhea and Liv, to continue their regurgitated storylines. This is the best one we've got so far tonight. You're 1,000% right. Why can't we have Kiana James? I thought Tiffy Time looked as good Friday as I've ever seen her look. And she was gone hurt, comes back, and then she speaks up in a podcast saying, where's my stories? Where are my opponents? I'm guessing she's going to get punished for that.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, because she's calling them out. Yes.
And I'm not saying that Rhea is not still a star, but Vince, what have they done with Rhea the last 6 to 12 months? They made her a tag team wrestler with Io. Yep. She walked out with her arm around Io every single week. Can you imagine The Rock being a tag team for 6 months or 12 months, or Stone Cold being in a tag team for 6 or 12 months?
Can I tell you something, man? Because I'm feeling I feel this through like writing for JCW, like just another wrestling company. Coach, the same people are watching every week. Everybody else has stopped watching this. This is not a topic of conversation. This is not pop culture. This is not over. This is not popular. I mean, if anything, you talk about WrestleMania tickets. You talk about WrestleMania tickets, and you put Randy Orton over. I want to give Bin Hameen credit because Bin pointed this out today to show you guys I got no problem giving people credit for things. But when you're talking about we got to sell tickets to WrestleMania and we put Randy Orton over, and he's talking about playing it safe. Who's the one person that's got a bigger following than perhaps that entire company combined? Logan Paul. You want to sell tickets. You want to get out there, social media. You want to make some noise. That's the guy. That's how you do it.
I'm so glad you said that because they took it to the line, and then you felt them go,
yes.
What am I talking about? Logan Paul had the first 3 eliminations in that match after he wasn't even in the match up until Friday. They didn't even think enough of him to put him in. Then Bronson Reed gets hurt. Jay goes over. They clock him. And if you're Jey Uso, my God, what are you thinking right now? But Vince, this is what I've been talking about. What would it have hurt to give Logan Paul a big win at the Chamber? So then as the number 2 heel in the company behind Drew, he now has something to crow about. But in their minds, Vince, are like, well, let's give him 3 eliminations and then still have Randy go over instead of having the 30-year-old go over who has more heat than anybody. That's what they did. That's what they thought they were doing.
Yep. Because what are we talking about here? What are we talking that they never do? Take chances. You're not going anywhere if you don't take chances, man. It's going to be the same old, same old.
And this is what, when you talk about blinders on, whether it's Shapiro putting the blame on a middle-class family making $60,000 a year, they can't pay $30. Instead of saying, oh, wait a second, we took 25% off our WrestleMania tickets, and they're still, because we upped them by 25. They tried to rope-a-dope with the tickets. They raised them 25%. They really did. Yeah. I got a little nugget on viewership. Year 1 on Netflix, they averaged over 3 million weekly. Okay, over 3 million worldwide. Early 2026 through the first 2 months, 2.85 million per week. That is at least 150,000 down, at least, maybe more on the weekly average. And if they're not looking at the events, what are they doing?
And you're going into WrestleMania season.
This is the number 1 season.
Exactly.
This is when everybody should be watching.
Exactly. Yep.
Absolutely crazy. Your super stickers tonight, guys, are absolutely spot on. Thank you. Marco says you get 2 spots on the wheel. I've been watching since the first show, guys. You both do the Lord's work. Thank you very much. I felt like Danhausen was a much-needed comedic addition to the show, reminding me of my favorite WWE moment when Stone Cold best Vince with a bedpan. God bless. I'm willing to give Danhausen a chance. I really, simply because I want to be entertained.
Yeah.
And I don't know that much about him, so I have an open mind. I just think that it was a dud of a reveal. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, bringing him on is fine. He should not have been the guy in the box.
Correct. By the way, 6 people in a box, if you're being realistic, like Vince always teaches us, they would be dead in 2 weeks. Dead. By the way, Vince, do you know how many I saw another Instagram page counted up how many times the WWE has used the black hoodie mask gimmick?
I know. It's crazy.
How many? 20.
Oh, my God. That's crazy.
20.
And it never makes sense. It absolutely never makes sense, ever.
When they had one of Seth Rollins' students and Adam Pearce goes, who are you? Who are you? I was like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. And then they take all of the security out, so Seth looks like a genius, and the door is wide open to the chamber, and so Seth can just walk right in.
Coach, think about this for a second. You're doing the guy under the hood, and it's nobody, and then it's Seth. Okay, so I guess your idea is people are going to tune in to see who the guy in the hood is. Then it's going to be a fart in church because it's set students, whatever. Coach, why not have had it be Seth from day one? In the rafters, in the crowd. That's the hook. The hook is, when is Seth going to strike and what is he going to do? That's the hook. Not you're putting nobodies under masks, and when you're revealed, people are like, who the hell is that? It should have been him for 4 straight weeks.
I am so disappointed in you, Vince.
Sorry, Coach.
Don't you know, Vince, that he was busy working on the NFL Network?
Yeah.
He was busy not being gone. So the casual was like, wait a second, I see him every day. I saw him on the NFL Network. I saw him hosting for Rich Eisen. But he couldn't be at Monday Night Raw to do what you're talking about. But he was everywhere. It wasn't like he was hurt.
Yeah.
They don't see that.
Yeah.
All right, Brian Adams, you got a spot on the wheel. He goes, I'm a member of the WWE Fan Council. They emailed a survey and asked if you're a casual fan what era you watched, what do you currently watch, about 25 more questions. WWE might be feeling the pain of fans leaving. This is interesting, Vince.
And that's great. We talked about that last week. Focus groups. That's what we talked about. Beautiful.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah.
At least they're doing it, but
Yeah.
they've got to listen to it.
Exactly.
That's what they're not doing. All right, official Bebecito. We'll see you on the wheel a little bit later. Will we see a return of the custom Vinny Russo jerseys in JCW like the WCW days, or were those only exclusive to matches? The New York Giants, New Jersey Devil jerseys were memorable. Shout out to the coach and bro.
Yeah, I need to bring those back, I think. I need to bring my jerseys back, Coach.
Whoa. Vince, I happen to know a guy who has a brand new merch store where we could sell them.
Yes.
Would you be open to that?
Yes, we got to definitely talk about that. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, Bebecito, maybe we'll even do a little, I don't know, code Fugazi 10, get 10% off. Who knows? But we can make anything. We can make anything. Johnny Karate, Russo, Coach, Stevie Ray, and James Romero have been my eyes and ears in wrestling for months. God bless you guys for saving me from wasting my life. It's so nice to have a fan base now, Vince, that understands after just over a year that this is where they need to come. This is where you hear the truth.
Yeah.
This is where you get the real thing. Aaron Alphonse says, don't you guys think that pro wrestling, WWE and AEW, needs an offseason? Yes. I think it's time for it. It'll force both companies to be creative. It's time. Vince, I've been saying this since day freaking one. When you can't celebrate WrestleMania because you're on a highway I-95 to go to Raw the next night, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Give me 3 months off, and I know we're going to lose the houses. But I bet you, Vince, they could have got the same numbers for their broadcast deals that they got anyway.
I agree with you. And maybe there's a chance to recharge the batteries. Maybe. I don't even know if 3 months would help them, but it wouldn't hurt them.
It wouldn't hurt. And the boys would love it.
Yeah.
The girls, they would love it.
Yeah.
A wrestling historian, to both of you, who were toxic wrestlers in the locker room during your time? Thank you. Oh, this is a loaded one. This is what shows up on Ringside News and all those dirt sheets. Wow. Toxic wrestlers. I mean, there were several. Do you have any, Vince?
I would say because he's admitted it, because he's a different guy today. I mean, Sean, without a
Sean was.
When Sean was under the influence of whatever he was under the influence of, oh my God, man,
it was bad.
It
was bad. I would say Randy, because Randy's also gotten a lot better too.
Yeah.
I was there for 21-year-old Randy.
Yeah.
And he was living his best life and everybody else's worst.
Yeah.
But he's also admitted it as well. I mean, I think if you're just talking guys that like to have fun, and if you didn't like their kind of fun, JBL was interesting to hang out. I hung out with him. I played golf with him a lot, so I hung out with him a lot. But he wasn't everybody's cup of tea. But he'll readily admit that too.
Yeah.
Me and Big Show got into it a couple of times. I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
Overseas into Afghanistan when he slammed a soda can on my chest. I got up, Vince, and I squared up like it was time to go. And we were at 37,000 feet. And after everything calmed down, I thought to myself, what the hell did I just do?
Can you imagine, Coach?
Yeah. Oh, man. That's all right. TYX says WWE made Kaiser's Americano a joke. AAA made Kaiser's Americano into the next Hogan, with people looking forward for mass versus match at Triple Mania. I don't watch a lot of AAA. I really don't. But it feels like all of the Americanos have been wasted since Chad Gable got hurt.
Yeah. Is he back, Gable?
Oh, he looks amazing. I don't know how much he's done so far, but he had a video in the gym the other day. He is shredded.
Yeah.
Shredded. But I don't know how much he's done. I haven't seen him because, I mean, he's, why would they put him in WrestleMania? You got Danhausen. Guillermo. Neil says he's been back weekly. Okay. Thank you, producer man. He's the Grande original, apparently.
Yeah,
I speed through these.
I lost track of the Grandes.
Yeah.
I'm done with that.
Yeah, I get when they come out, I'm like, there's 4 of them now.
Yeah.
Guillermo, we'll see you on the wheel. What's the point of going through the chamber to get a title shot when Finn got one by interrupting Punk? I'll rather just do that. Seems easier. Also, Meltzer has been on hold. Can you pass him through? I'll say this. This is the whole reason why the CM Punk Finn Balor thing was ridiculous. And Vince, I watched CM Punk. He did 10 interviews. And I wanted to say, who's writing his shit? Because I did sports at the highest level. And every interview, he said this, Vince. He's like, everybody's wondering why I want to be a fighting champion. Everybody's wondering, why would I do this when I have the main event at WrestleMania? He says, because you still got to play regular season games. He said it over and over. Vince, if somebody makes the Super Bowl, which is what WrestleMania is, do they go back and play a regular season game? Do they even go back and play the AFC or NFC championship game?
Coach, wrestlers today, man, they don't even know what promos are supposed to do anymore. I know, like, bro, when I'm in there at JCW, I know whoever I'm in there with, my job is to get them over. And I'm doing everything in that direction. They don't even know why they're in there anymore. They just go in there and talk. There's no purpose to it anymore.
If I did a promo, Vince, and this is just me, if I truly hope, and I'll be as transparent as I can be here, that I have a goal of being an executive, whether it's with a wrestling company, just a company in general, because I think I have really good thoughts and I'm a really good leader and I'm easy to work with. And when I see a lot of these things that are happening, Vince, I say to myself, man, I hope that we can get some more people that are in the right place to make these decisions. Because Vince, if I had my world champion and he was saying that bullshit on WGN, then ESPN and all this, and I would call him and be like, who wrote it for you? Somebody did. They're getting in trouble. Oh, you wrote it for yourself? Stop saying it. And then Vince, they were allowing guys like Jey Uso. He went on First Take or one of those, and after he got done, I was like, you can never let him do a live interview again. Because he said, not only am I going to yeet inside the chamber, I'm going to run it back inside the chamber. That makes all the sense in the world. You're fighting for a spot at WrestleMania, and you're talking about double yeeting inside of the chamber?
Yeah.
And then they beat him up. He doesn't even get there.
Yeah. And a baby face never does that. I learned that from Bret Hart in 1993. A baby face never says they're going to do something they know they're not going to do. You never say that.
It's 101.
Yeah.
It's 101.
Yep.
Lonnie Mead, 1776. Awesome show as always. Thank you, Johnny. Just wanted to support people that deserves it, unlike WWE. Lonnie, it means the world. It means the world. It goes to our platforms, and it really, all these super stickers mean the world to us. I really mean that. MLNP, Danhausen became a free agent on 2/28. WWE had the box story weeks before that, so still being under AEW contract, but planning with him, isn't that tampering? It's a gray area. It's a gray area. If usually a company has a chance to match, and then if they get to a certain date that they, but I've been hearing, Vince, that Tony Khan has been extending contracts just to keep guys and girls underneath his thumb. We just saw Britt Baker at a red carpet. Vince, she looks amazing.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh my God. And she wouldn't answer the questions, which means when a wrestler doesn't answer the questions, what does that mean? It's true.
Yeah.
And she was asked about leaving, going to WWE. I said it a year ago, but I was like, Coach, you're an idiot. And I'm like, she hasn't been used. She hasn't been on TV in how long?
Yeah.
That tells me he's holding her. And when you have $15 billion, Vince, you'll spend an extra $300,000 just to not let her or him go to WWE. That's what I think Tony Khan's doing.
And it would make a difference anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, as good as Britt Baker is, when she's going there under their creative, you think it's going to make a difference?
Blake Monroe.
Yep.
Who else has gone over from there? Oh, Jade Cargill.
Yep.
Who else? That's all I need to say.
Yeah.
And if I'm a talent now, before like Royce Hobbs reportedly, Vince, turned down a lot more money, but he said it was my dream to go to the WWE. That has always been the case for the first, let's say, since WrestleMania, the first 35 years. That's not the case anymore.
Yep.
I mean, you heard what MJF said the other day. I mean, he pounded WWE, which is something he does not normally do.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's looking at it saying, you know what? It's open season, including the AEW World Champion.
Yeah.
And he said, like, you have to give your firstborn to buy a ticket or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have got to change things, and fast. Otis Linkman says, how many qualifiers and tournaments can WWE do to set up their big events? Also, Chelsea Green should leave WWE. Vince, they used her at commentary, but yet they won't use anybody else who's hurt. She even took a bump with a broken ankle on Saturday night or Friday night, whichever it was.
Yeah, God, man, we used to use people at commentary all the time. They never do that anymore, man.
They don't. They don't. But AEW will put 5 guys on the commentary table.
Yeah. So they make up for it. They make up.
They more than make up for it. You guys are spot on. You're really listening to us this week, and your questions and your comments are fantastic. At Thanos, you'll be on the wheel. I think Triple H is going to be fired prior to the Saudi WrestleMania. Nothing good creatively. Well, guys, Vince has stood pat that by the end of 2026 was your timeline.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
Do you still stand on that?
I still do. Yes.
I don't think they can go through another 7 PLEs with the pressure from ESPN, the pressure from Netflix. I saw a report, Vince, that there is an out in the Netflix contract in 28 or 29, which would be pretty common because usually halfway through a long deal.
Right.
So if they're scrambling right now, and this is a creative, Vince, to your point, at some point, when you find out The Rock and the role he is in, despite not showing up, you don't think he's going to call Ari? He's going to call Mark and say, boys, somebody's got to get it because this sucks.
That's the thing, Coach. I mean, again, your entire background is sports. And, Coach, how many times is somebody let go to send a message? Somebody's let go as a wake-up call. Not here, man.
It happens in the NFL all the time.
Everywhere.
Hell, it happens in everywhere. Baseball all the time. You're like, hey, listen, you're just, it happens everywhere. Except for it's crazy. Yeah, this next one's a good one. At Mr. LCEY, Coach and Vince, you get creative control of WWE tomorrow. What immediately do you both change? Great question. What would you do?
I just, Coach, I just start new, and I do the same thing I did during the Attitude Era. We've got to get in step with society. We've got to bring this show up to speed. What's happening in the world? I really feel, Coach, the world has just passed the WWE by. With what's going on in the world, the WWE is in the dust. We're seeing a war in Iran. We're seeing fighter planes. We're seeing bombings. And then we're seeing Danhauser in a box. That's what I'm talking about. The world has passed the WWE by.
It's either they don't know to do it or they're too scared to do it.
Yeah.
And to me, it's because movie companies are not scared to do it.
Nope.
They're not. I would do exactly what Vince just did. I would literally rip up everything. Yep. I would stop with the brand split. They don't have enough stars to make both shows watchable. Yes. To me, you've got about 4 or 5 bankable stars.
Yeah.
4 or 5. So to me, it's all hands on deck. And if you don't want them, Vince, to travel to both shows, then champions do.
Yep.
And you have one world champion, one female champion, one tag team, one men's tag team, one intercontinental, one U.S. or women's intercontinental, and that's it.
Yep.
I don't need any nonsense, 205, speed, all this bullshit. And then everybody's fighting for one thing. So you don't have to say, well, wait a second, that guy's not on SmackDown, so he can't fight with Drew. Or he's not on Raw, so he can't fight with CM Punk. That nonsense has to stop and start from scratch.
Yep.
Just like you said. That's what I would do.
1000%. Yep.
Marco Sester, we'll see you on the wheel. Vince, what is it like working with Hollywood Haley J and her mom? Also, hope your dad is doing better. Thank you. Been watching them since Wrestlers on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, Holly J is, I mean, just so young, but you would think she's a veteran with her knowledge, and she gets that from her mom. I mean, you know, again, this is second generation wrestlers, and they just tend to be the most knowledgeable. I mean, I think Haley's like 23 years old. You would think she's 10 years older than that.
When you have really smart in-ring ability, we call it golf IQ in golf.
Yeah.
It allows you to slow down. It allows you to have really good thing and also really good promos as well. Daniel Turner, we'll see you on the wheel. Hey, Coach and Vince, I'm finding the standard of wrestling at WWE is awful at the moment. LA Knight slipping off the ropes again at the weekend. There have been a lot of botched moves recently. I will say this, the LA Knight thing, Vince, this is where details matter. When you've got 6 guys in a ring area, all of them have baby oil on themselves.
Yep.
If you're going to have somebody get on the ropes in a corner, you tell the other guys, don't go to that corner.
Yeah. Yep.
So it wasn't necessarily his fault. Now, the other stuff, I can't make excuses for. I really, really can't. But it doesn't have to be perfect. But Vince, right now, what's happening is if they make a mistake, what's happening to LA Knight? What's happening to LA Knight? Right now, you know, we saw it on Unreal. Then we saw it Saturday night. So if you're backstage, you're in creative, he can't fight for himself. You saw his face when he got yelled at.
Yep.
He's 43 years old, and they're treating him like a 21-year-old.
Exactly, Coach. Yep.
He's debilitated.
Yeah.
His confidence is shot. Absolutely shot. So I don't know what you do, but I feel bad for the guy. He will never be a champion again.
No.
Ever.
No.
Ever.
Yeah.
Venom829, you are a premium member. Thank you very much. We're starting the watch-alongs, by the way, in a couple of weeks. They're going to be amazing with Vince, Tommy C, and myself. If you guys are not a premium member, I encourage you to do it. What we're going to do is anything Vince wrote or didn't see, we will do a watch-along.
Yes.
Big Tommy was at ringside for Taker and Mick. We're going to do all those. 1 a month, maybe 2. But Vince, I am so looking forward to those for our premium members. I really am.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing Coach in action, baby. That's what I want to see. Yes.
I had some bangers, man. I had some pay-per-view wins. You know, me and Jerry went at it toe-to-toe. He thought I didn't understand Japanese. I understood Japanese. Make no mistake about it. The Jade Cargill shoot heat story checks out. Don't forget about Bianca. She may have been the first to have backstage issues.
Yeah, remember we talked about that way back in the day. We talked about that. Remember?
I told you guys when she came over, I was driving back from wine country when I got the call about them not getting along. And what did everybody say, Vince? You're an idiot. You don't know anything. They broke them up a week later or 2 weeks later. Bianca did not like working with her. She made her own gear. Jade had somebody make it for her. They couldn't agree. That's fact.
We talked about
fact.
That. Yep.
By the way, Bianca, get better. Her finger is really bad, Vince. Really, really bad. Lonnie Mead is back. I always described wrestling as a soap opera with violence. We are desperately missing the soap opera part. 1,000%, right, Vince?
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%.
It's crazy. All right, I think we have one more, and then we'll get the hell out of here. Hey, it's me, Scott. Paul Heyman's big dramatic oversell when Seth returned at the chamber was embarrassing. Every time he does this, he reminds me of Gargamel, the evil villain from the old Smurfs cartoon.
I know that.
That was one of the great characters on Saturday mornings. On Saturday. I feel like Vince, and I think he had like a 5 or 10 year window where everything he did, the perception was it turned to gold. And then he had that Hall of Fame speech where he went old school Paul Heyman, and you know, he had the black jacket. And I think now that they're doing these things so much in so many of these interviews, he's doing the same shtick, Vince.
Yeah, I mean,
same thing.
How many times have you heard this term? When you look at this company in front of the camera and behind the camera, how many people have overstayed their welcome? There are so many people in this company that have overstayed their welcome.
It's so funny because wrestling fans, they've said it to me. Coach, you only lasted 11 years the first time. You know how ridiculous that sounds?
Yeah.
And to your point, I think wrestling fans have fallen into, and maybe certain people that have kept their jobs have fallen into this too, Vince, where they believe we're all one big happy family. We all stay here, we work together, this is what we do, and I'm going to spend 40 years in this company. That's not how it works anywhere else.
No.
You either produce, no matter what your job is, if you're a writer, if you're a producer, if you're a stage manager, if you're a director, if you're a TD, if you're a camera guy, if you shoot a bad night on Monday Night Raw, you are not shooting Monday Night Raw the next week. Point blank.
You know, Coach, I was thinking about this today because, like writing JCW and, like I am 65 and, going out on the road, is very, very, very tough. And, I've come to the realization where I'm going to get to the point where I've run my course and I'm going to know it. I mean, I'm going to know it. Do these, like a Michael, like, do they ever consider, like, we've run our course, our best years are behind us, we're never going to do, like, I am very conscious of that, Coach. And when I get to that point, I'm going to know. I don't know, do they still think they bring something to the table and have this value? And
see, those are two different questions. I think they still do because Vince, wrestlers, and to some extent, I was this way until I was starting to get out. You've moved away. I think anybody that's gotten out of WWE and doesn't live in the bubble, we're a little more realistic. I know what I'm good at. I can admit when I do something crappy. Yeah. I absolutely can. I think the problem is, Vince, is that when you get to a certain age and you've done this your entire life, and nobody's going to be able to retire at 65. Those are foregone conclusions. So if you've got to work till you're 70, 75, that's all they know. And that's why I wanted to get out when I did. I was like, if I turn into Michael Cole, God bless him. He's had a great job, makes a lot of money, but he's never had like a week's vacation, like a whole week to go to Aruba. Yeah. And to me, it's I think, if you're Michael Hayes, are you going to walk into a bank and work 9 to 5?
Yeah, but you're not. How many years does Michael Hayes have in the business? He needs to keep working.
Vince, you still got to spend money. You still got to live.
The hats cost that much? Coach, how much could the hats cost?
I mean, I don't count anybody else's money, but I know that I've wasted a lot in my life, whether it's divorce, whether it is drinking, whether it is gambling, whatever it is. So I just assume other people have vices too.
Yeah.
You know,
I guess
I am now the best version of myself. Yeah. And I know that for the next 30 years, we're going to do great shows right here. Yeah. And all the mistakes I've made in the past, I will not make them again.
Yep.
But not everybody, learns,
Yeah.
So, cool kid, 2K4. Hey, Russo. What's this? I'm hearing about a lawsuit against Big Al over the 1-incher picks.
Yeah,
you know what that is.
Yeah,
is that real?
Yeah, you got to stay tuned. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Krausinator. How about 2 spots on the wheel for you? Hey, guys.
Can I shout out Krausinator? He is part of the Russo brand Fantasy Baseball League. We've probably been playing the last 15, 20 years now, Coach. And Michael Kraus is a proud member of the Fantasy Baseball League.
What are we doing? How many are you doing this year, by the way? Are you doing 4 again?
One? This one.
You're lying.
Coach,
you did 4 last year.
No, I did 6 last year, Coach. 1.
God, I stopped counting.
Just this one. That's it.
All
1.
Right.
Yep.
Michael Kraus, I feel bad for you. Who do you think he cries to when he starts getting his ass kicked in his fantasy league? This guy. This guy. I'd like to get your thoughts on the Roman Punk segment on Raw. They're probably the 2 best talkers in the company, I would say. And I think Vince, they're throwing out digs like, I don't care what anybody says, or then he goes after Roman for being a part-timer. I don't know what would hit, but I think they're hoping that this is an absolute home run. But Vince, if it was a home run, night 2 would be sold out more than 56%.
Yeah, I mean, Coach, you gotta ask yourself the question: how many people want to say what they're going to want to see, what they're going to say to each other in the ring, compared to how many people want to see them actually wrestle? Seriously, I mean,
what you think more people want to see them talk than wrestle?
Absolutely, they want to see the low blows. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to bury you. Absolutely, 1,000%. Yes. There's no heat. What's the heat? The heat's words.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm entertained when they go at each other.
Yeah.
Because I love a good promo, and I've always, prided myself on cutting a great promo. The problem is when I've watched CM Punk in all these different main events, and they have put him over at every turn. Like Drew McIntyre is probably sitting there going, "Why can't I get some of that? Why can't I get some of that?" And if you're Roman Reigns, to me, this is as close to a shoot work as they could possibly come up with because of CM Punk's past.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Now, the women, I don't think they're good enough actresses to make it look like a work. I think it is a shoot. I think Roman and CM Punk could. Because they're veterans. Now, Roman's been, I believe, in 11 main events at WrestleMania now. It's 11.
Oh, that's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot. Roman said he's going to retire Punk, send him to NXT to train the next crop who will come up, and Roman will beat them too.
Yeah.
Maybe Roman's just had it. Maybe he just had it. I don't know. Producer man, I think we got through. Oh, wait a second, Vince. Okay, I think this is okay. It's just $1. Sorry. Okay, it's just $1. It says 100. I think it's from India. I think, but we love you in India. But we'll read it. Hey Vince, a fan. I saw your April 10, 2000 Nitro reboot. You threaded 8 different stories and linked all of them on the same show. No one could do that now.
Still doing it,
You're
baby.
The best.
Still doing it, baby. Yes.
And before anybody says anything, the only time if you want to go to India or someplace and it makes it look like 100, then we'll do it. We don't do dollars. We don't do dollars. So next time it needs to be 500 of that little squiggly mark, whatever that is. All right, producer man, I need you to throw up onto the screen our brand new merch store because I want people to get an idea of what we have to offer now. It's not just mamby-pamby. It's all kinds of stuff. It is Coach and Bro merchandise. It is hats. Are you enjoying the show? Are you enjoying the show? And then my personal favorite, the Jugga Bros for life.
Yeah, I like that.
For life.
Yes.
That's the one I want. That's the one I want. And Vince, you've never been in better shape than they're on the left.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Don't make me like you.
Look at the
Don't make me like you.
Yes.
All right. So any T-shirt you guys want, we're going to do because you had to wait tonight. We're going to do 2 spins of the wheel. So producer man, when you are ready with the wheel, I think it's going to be very impressive for one show. Very impressive for one show. I have a feeling. He's just getting it all loaded up. Getting all loaded up there. That's very impressive for one show. Very impressive. Yes. So, all right, we're going to have 2 winners tonight. You got to be watching live. If you're not, don't text me and go, Coach, I heard. Not listening. Hashtag it pays to watch live. All right, Vince, this is your job.
All right, here we go. Producer man, spin the wheel.
Let's go. The next winner. Who's going to send us a picture? Who's going to get on the show? That's what I'm talking about. It'll get there in about 7 to 9 business days.
Krausinator.
How about that?
Yes, Michael Krausinator. Very nice.
You can pay for the 5th of another fantasy baseball team.
Yes.
All right.
Very nice.
Michael Kraus, you need to email producer man at that email. He will respond. You tell him what you want. We'll get it sent right out to you. No questions asked. And you don't owe us anything. This is because you guys, we want to say thank you.
Yes.
All right. Spin number 2.
Here we go. Producer man, spin the wheel.
Let's go. Who's going to be the second winner? Who's going to get that Fugazi Tommy Carlucci t-shirt? I think this is he's won before.
Has he? Hey, it's me, Scott.
Yeah, but that was the old merch store.
Oh, very nice.
The new merch store. Congratulations. Hey, it's me, Scott.
Very nice.
All right. We normally do this on Thursdays, but tonight's the only show of the week. So thank you guys sincerely. We started at 9:30 Eastern time, and look at how many people. It means the world to me, Vince, and I know it means the world to you.
It does.
It really, really does.
An off night. Everybody's in here. We talked a lot, couple hours. Great, man.
Yep.
Thank you guys for supporting us.
All right, before we get out of here, Vince, Thursday night, what can the good people expect?
Thursday night, man, we're headed to a big climax, man, and you got to follow the story because it is episodic television, 7 o'clock Eastern on Thursday, JCW Lunacy on YouTube. Check it out, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
And Vince is always there live, answering questions, watching the episode with you. So JCW, every week it's growing. It's growing. I'm telling you, in 5 years, when we're the #1 show in America and our show's on Netflix or Amazon Prime, JCW is going to shock the world.
Yeah.
The #1 wrestling organization in America.
1,000%. Yes.
The world, Vince, the world.
Yes.
All right. So Vince, I got to get on a plane tomorrow to Florida. Okay. And I'm going to be there for 11 days.
Wow.
11 days.
Wow.
So we're going to be moving our shows around a little bit, but we will still do them as we always do.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
All right. You're the man, bro. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Be safe on the road, Coach, please.
I'm gonna do my best.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we missed having Lonnie on. Okay, so Lonnie, next week we'll give you a spot. If you would do another super sticker, we'll give you 2 spots. So I apologize, but you got a spot on next week's wheel because we always want to make it right. So we apologize for that. Sorry, that's only $2. I won't do $2. Don't make it look like it's $200 wherever you're from. But we're glad it may be like 3 o'clock in the afternoon wherever you're from. We love all of you. All right, that's going to do it for now. For Mikey P, for Producer Man, for my man and my partner, Vince Russo, thank you to everybody. We'll be back on Monday, and I'll be on the road for our normal time at 5 o'clock Eastern time. Until then, enjoy JCW. Try to enjoy SmackDown and Monday Night Raw. I am the coach. We'll see you next time right here on the Coach and Bro Show.